Hello Capricorn, it's Marina. This is your reading for mid-December into maybe January 2019. Capricorn, I cannot bring to mind your last reading. I think I'm thinking of the one previous to this, where we had a lot of your chakras in reverse, and I was quite concerned about your health. This is sort of reminding me a wee bit of the Gemini reading that went up yesterday. Yeah, so basically it's not brilliant, Capricorn, is what I'm going to say. When you have got an overload of planets in your chart just now, clearly, if you're looking, I mean, this can be Capricorn, Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. And if you don't know your other placements, the Cafe Astrology link is below. Put in your birthday and it will pull up your chart. You know, and look for where Capricorn is in your house. It's quite an important placement. If this doesn't resonate, your other placings might do, or indeed if you put your main placements together, you can get an overall picture. Please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Don't try and fit it into your story. And if you are in a good place in general, take this with a pinch of salt, or, you know, don't watch tarot at all. Because I don't feel your energy is brilliant just now, Capricorn, and, you know, I know that people do jump around from tarot reading to tarot reading, a bit like reading, you know, 40 horoscopes and hoping for a good one and, you know, hanging on to that. As your energy is not brilliant just now. Now, you're either dealing with your own mother, you've got severe problems with your own mother, or this is maybe just your partner, the mother of your children. Right, I'm just going to dig in. You are actually showing up in this reading. Now, this may be someone else. You're dealing with the King of Wands in reverse at the base of the matter in your subconscious. I do kind of feel it's your energy, because when I've gone on to take your advice, I've got my King of Bows, who's my Foxy, coming out at the base of the deck here. And I actually do think it's your own energy, which is quite depressed, Capricorn. So I pulled a number of spirit animals. I have got initially my badger spirit, be bold and fearless. I think you are being very persistent. I think you're very determined to make a success of whatever issues you're having just now, Capricorn, which is really positive. This is about being very committed, very tenacious. It is suggesting that being courageous yields positive results. And I do think in your mind space, because you'll see in your heart of the matter, you're coming through as the Six of Wands with the Singer of Courage. I feel you're really determined to make this positive, although everything surrounding it suggests that it is a major uphill struggle to achieve that. But what is really positive is that you're very, very determined to make something good out of this. But your headspace is not brilliant with my pig spirit in reverse and my joy in reverse. Now, this is ruminating thoughts. It's a little bit Nine of Swords, I have to say. It's about just analysis paralysis, thinking over the same thing over and over, trying to find a solution, but not finding yourself any nearer to getting one. I did get night fever on that. So this is sort of like, you might go through your day and, you know, be managing okay. But it's, you know, when the lights go down and you shut your eyes, that's when, you know, boom, it all comes back into your head, or you start, you know, trying to strategize how to, you know, put things right in your life, or how to mend relationships, or, you know, get more money, get a better job, what's my life path, why is this happening to me, this sort of thing. I do think it may be disturbing your sleep. And it's about how to get your joy back with joy in reverse. It's where's my happy? How do I get happy? How do I get happy again? That's what I'm getting. It's suggesting that you need to let your mind rest. You need to, at this point, for this period of time, release your grip on maybe trying to work out a solution, or needing to know whatever it is that you don't feel that you know, because you're muddying your mind with fear and anxiety by, you know, thinking this over and over and over. I mean, I honestly do think there could be a wee touch of PTSD here, because I've also got my groundhog spirit in reverse, time to let go in reverse, and in passé. There's just something you can't let go of, Capricorn. You can't let it go, and you need to let it go. It'll come on to your advice, and it is actually release and let go. And it is littered all the way through this reading. There's something you're not letting go of that's blocking you. I mean, you're almost relentless in trying to revive something that needs to pass away, that needs to be, let go. A situation, a relationship, a belief, a habit. It could be a habit. I'm getting a wee touch of maybe hitting the bottle here as well. You have to accept the past for what it is. I almost feel with this impasse card here that it's blocked. There's no access. It may actually be repressed memories. You may be wanting to get some, past life regression or hypnosis to work out maybe, I don't know, whatever it is you feel that you haven't quite got a grasp on. Can you stop the cavalry on this? So, it might be something to do with the military. It might be someone who's been in a war. Or, just, felt very much... why me? It's uncontrollable thoughts. Why is this happening to me? Why can't I get a break? Where's my fucking happy? I'm trying really hard. I also got initially that you can't hurry love. Okay, so here you are, and as I say, I've sort of touched on this, the Singer of Courage and the Six of Wands. So this is in the heart of the matter. This is your significator. This is your current energy coming through. As I say, very determined for success here. I don't feel that you're actually being particularly successful. I mean, I hope you are, because this is my returning hero, But it's also about hanging on in there and being very determined to overcome any obstacle. When times are tough, you're still have the courage to break through, to transcend your fears, to work out what your self-limiting beliefs are, what is holding you back, and to win. Now, there can be an issue with ego here, Capricorn. May have that may be something you need to consider. Are these worries being exacerbated by your ego? Is that where it's coming from? That's something to think about. But I actually personally find this quite positive, because as I say, given everything else that's going on around you and what you're having to deal with, I think this is really good. I think you do need this this positive determined attitude to see you through this period. And what is blocking you? What is your obstacle? Is the Singer of Transformation with the Five of Wands. It's basically transforming a conflict. And these are like really petty arguments. I did get China in your hand, so I feel that whatever you're dealing with is quite delicate. It's almost like you can't force it through, because you might completely, eviscerate it. I feel you're sort of putting your game face on here and putting some effort into solving the problems. And with the Singer of Transfiguration here, it is suggesting that it is winnable, that you can, win this battle, whatever it may be. If it's with a person, it may even be with yourself, because the Five of Wands is a great deal to do with inner conflict, your own mind that needs to be battled. You know what you're up against currently, Capricorn, but whatever that is, you do have the ability to transform it into something positive with this little combo right bang center. As I say, everything else around it is an issue, but this is really, really positive. Now, I'm going to touch on this next. I do think this is your energy, and this is a real concern because you're coming through as the King of Wands in reverse. Probably speaking to a masculine here. You can switch your energies. If you're a feminine, this may be who you're dealing with. So my King of Wands in reverse, this is a real arrogant so-and-so. This is being very greedy, very self-centered, very self-indulgent. I mean, the overindulgence, self-indulgence is actually quite overwhelming. And with my, I've got my victim card and my poet card, my archetypes, and I'm assuming they're both shadow attributes, because not only do I have my King of Wands in reverse, I have also got Luminous Doom here, who is my self-pity, self-sabotage, self-destructive and depression card. So I am looking at them in their shadow aspects. And with that, this is someone who uses lyricism to negative effect. Songs or poems written in support of evil causes. I mean, God, I don't know how you could, you know, translate that into normal life, but it might mean something to you. And it's also somebody who plays the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity. It's somebody who has very poor personal boundaries. They may actually be someone who has no issues with invading other people's personal boundaries. They've always got to push it that wee bit too far. My King of Wands in reverse is also quite lechy, I'll be honest. He's really not my favourite in this deck. But overall, he's arrogant. He can be hypersexual. He is aggressive, angry, and almost like pissed off you haven't got your own way in something and it's made you go into victim mode, which is quite narky, Capricorn, if this is you. With the topsy-turvies here, this is your perspectives wrong. You're not seeing something properly. The confusion is caused by a faulty point of view. You might be feeling defensive, but more than anything, you're probably in denial. And with Luminous Doom here being about self-destruction and self-pity, in the main it's self-pity. I feel that maybe you've tried to, whatever you've tried to achieve, it's not working. You've maybe gone from being the aggressor and now it's backfired, or it's just not going to plan. As I say, this can be a complete reversal. You know how tarot works. It's a general reading. And then you've gone into victim mode. Woe is me. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. I think I'll go and eat worms. Because they didn't get my way. I I'm not going to be able, I don't think, to pull this together into one storyline. So there might be bits that sort of don't make sense. Because I can't decide if this is actually you and you're dealing with your mother. Or this is you and you have another masculine here that you're dealing with that this would represent. So, you know, keep an open mind and try and work out who's who to keep up. So in your crowning card, what's most apparent in your mind or what you can best achieve? Bloody hell. Get the Ten of Swords in reverse and the Ace of Swords in reverse. Oops, battery. And it's with my bright mother who is in reverse, who's actually coming through with the archetype of the mother, which is someone who can be in her shadow side, someone very smothering, someone who has abandoned their children, who makes their children feel guilty for becoming independent. It's really, yeah, it's not cool. But with the Ten of Swords in reverse, this can actually be like physical harm from another. This might be an abusive mother or an abusive feminine, physically abusive even. It's certainly a negative or maybe even an immoral group of people that you're involved in. It's becoming a scapegoat. And with the Ace of Swords in reverse, this can be a number of things. It's illusion, it's cruelty, it's injustice, and it's losing your grip on something. It's also blocked or, you know, no communication. But this mother is really an issue, a huge issue. So I'd say not only she got the mother archetype, and it is my bright mother in reverse, one of my favourite cards. I've got gratitude in reverse, and I've got my vampire in reverse. Now, it doesn't have to be a feminine, you know, I think it is though. It can just be general energy that's in your headspace, because the Bright Mother in reverse is quite the opposite of loving and giving and nurturing. It can be, it's infertility. That could be an issue for someone. Maybe struggling to possibly even, you know, have children. I honestly feel that if this is someone's mother, this is a very manipulative person. This is the real mother stuff. This is somebody who cripples their child or children, making them dependent on her, or indeed they become a bit of a martyr mother. They'll tell you how much they've given up for you, how much they've sacrificed for you, that you're not good enough. Why can't you be like such and such a child? And they expect the same back from you, but it'll never be enough. This person is a psychic vampire. This is somebody who chronically complains, who's very codependent on your energy, and really just doesn't want to let you go. I mean, it can also indicate real physical problems, digestive problems, eating disorders, emotional difficulties with giving or receiving. And again, kind of fuzzy emotional boundaries. There's issues with boundaries here. So I hope you can work out who that is, Capricorn. I mean, as I say, it could actually be your own energy. And I feel with my blank fairy guide oracle card here on the Ace of Swords in reverse that somebody's trying to just sort of brush this under the carpet. Like basically pretend it's not even happening. That everything's pure, pristine and clean. It's almost like a really sort of uncomfortable family, dynamic, secret interrelation that nobody wants to address. They just want to pretend it's not happening. So if the King of Wands is, it's the King of Wands is usually a more mature person, sort of, 35, 40 plus, I would put my kings at. Doesn't have to be. This might be a son who lives with his mother and is, not really being allowed or able to get on with their own life because they've got this kind of mother. And in the past, we have got the Six of Cups, forgiveness and perseverance. So there is maybe a friendship in your past. It could be a soulmate or a child, indeed, that there's some sort of forgiveness required in this relationship. It could be with siblings, because it does feel quite familial. This could be brothers and sisters. It sort of depicts a brother and sister playing away when they were children here. It may be that someone is persistently attempting to get an old relationship back on track. And because of everything else that's coming through, Capricorn is suggesting that for now, you need to let this go. Because it's messing with your head in not a good way. When we stop thinking about things and trying to solve the problems, that's often when the solution pops up. When you're doing something completely, different, just walking in the bath, in the shower, that's when you can get a little, an epiphany. But you have to, even when I do this, when I've lost something, which is frequently, if I lose my keys, I won't go looking for my keys. That sounds bizarre. If I look for my keys, I probably won't find my keys, yeah? So I'll intentionally look for something else, like my glasses, something else that I'll lose, 40 times a day. If I go and look for my glasses, I'll find my keys. That's how it works, in my opinion. Scrub that if that doesn't work for you, but you're too fixated on it to come up with a solution. The waters are so very muddied with thinking about this that it's not going to happen, Capricorn, until you just go do something else instead. Gosh. What's that program we watched when we were kids? Well, when I say we. Sitting at home watching TV, turn it off, no good to me. Why don't you? Yeah, go do something else instead, Capricorn, and the answer might just come to you. In your immediate future, I have got my Nine of Wands and my Epona's Wild Daughter. Epona's Wild Daughter is a real issue here, and it sort of is a bit of a nod to your pig spirit being in reverse there. It's very similar. It is about nightmares. It's about riddles that need to be answered. They need to be answered, although, or you know, you'll be destroyed by them because of the internal conflict that it kicks up inside you. And Epona holds you here. It's not a person. The universe, if you like, is going to hold you in this position until you get to the bottom of it. So it can be nightmares, it can be depression. I do think there's quite a bit of depression here, Capricorn. And with the Nine of Wands, it's sort of suggesting that you need to be on guard, or you feel very guarded against trouble and gossip around you. But it is also suggesting that you actually need to be on guard, and I think maybe even be on guard to your own negative thinking. Be on guard to, you know, what is going on in your head. I'm not saying you're blowing it out of proportion, and by, you know, I'm not saying that. But you need to be very careful with Epona. I mean, I'm not saying, you might not even have a choice. If Epona's got you, Epona's got you. It's a bit dark night of the soul, and you've just got to get through it. But it is suggesting you need to be on guard. You need to defend your turf. You might need to defend your reputation. But it is also suggesting you've got the stamina to enable that, which is coming back to my Six of Wands and courage. I mean, you know, there may be elements of your current situation that you're able to trace back to a similar situation where you were able to come through it and, you know, learn something from it, grow from it, and that's what's keeping you going. It is also sort of, I'm just going to touch on it because it is my Witch's Tarot. It is guarding against baneful magic here. And the reason I'm touching on it, aside from the fact it's my Witch's Tarot, I do have mysticism in reverse here with instinct. I sort of feel that you may think somebody has cursed you or put a bad spell on you. A feminine, I think you think it's a feminine. And with mysticism, it's sort of suggesting that you do know and you're not to doubt your intuition here with my instinct card, my lone wolf. You've got the scent of something and you're onto something. And with mysticism, if it's not, you know, spells and black magic, stuff like that, it's sort of in her upright position, it's Aubergine here, and she's watching from the shadows. Sorry, it's a bit like my Stalker's card. She keeps herself hidden and cloaked while she is a bit of, if in doubt, stay out. So she is watching and trying to determine who or what it is she's dealing with, and until she's sure, she won't show herself. So this is kind of suggesting that you're getting a wee bit of clarity here, that you're maybe becoming a little bit surer of what you're dealing with, and what you might be coming to the conclusion of is that someone is not your soulmate that you maybe thought was. And that doesn't need to be a romantic partner. That could be anyone in your life with a really strong connection. That someone that you thought was on your team, that was all for you, is actually not. That's maybe where your thoughts are going. I think what I asked for that card was what it is that you are seeing. You may be having nightmares about a soulmate. That they're, because of this whole letting go thing here, that they're defensive against you. I do have Nine of Swords coming up in your hopes. I'll come on to that. That's probably the most bizarre part of the reading, to be honest. But Nine of Swords is very Epona's wild daughter. And that's where you find yourself. I just think you might be having nightmares. It might involve a soulmate that's maybe even just left you in the past. And there's almost a touch of paranoia here, Gemini. I think I got why do they always leave me? And I did get mother love. What was the name? Christy Moore, is it? I don't know. I'll try and look it up. My songs will be below. I've actually put them like at the top, so to not make you scroll through them, because I'm not convinced. I mean, I really would like to know in the comments if anyone actually listens to the songs, because, you know, to shave, you know, 3 or 4 minutes off the time of my day, if nobody bothers their arse listening to them. They are pretty important. I mean, if you listen to them without the reading, they do sort of make their own wee story up there as well. Slipping my mind, it's that time. Okay, where are you going to find yourself? I have got Temperance card in reverse and the Singer of Initiation in reverse. This is worrying me a little bit, Capricorn. This you know, it can be a Sagittarius obviously with the Temperance card, but it does suggest an emotional imbalance. It also suggests that there could be addictions here. I think you may be hitting the bottle a bit, because I have got my Knight of Cups and I do see him as a little bit of a, you know, sometimes a bit of a party animal. He's always got his big cup up here. And with my initiation in reverse, it means I'm getting again that you're stuck and it's a bit of a why me. And I got on that no woman, no cry. When is it going to end? I asked what you, because you have to release something again. Gemini, see, it does feel like a Gemini reading. Release and acceptance. You have to accept that something needs to be released for now. If you can't envisage it forever, at least, you know, agree that it's for a week, a month, 2 months, whatever it may be, because it's driving you crazy with the release card here. This is actual fear. And I specifically asked what needs to be released, and it was the Knight of Cups and the Liberator. And this is freeing yourself from outmoded beliefs and releasing negative thought patterns. I do think there is an alcohol issue here, Capricorn, as well. I think you may be drowning your sorrows a wee bit. If not, it is just these negative thought patterns, which is coming back to the pig spirit in reverse and Epona's wild daughter. And in terms of how you're being viewed as the Two of Swords in reverse and the Master Maker in reverse. So what's our tricks in that? Yes, I did. So this is the Master Maker in reverse. This is one of my couples cards. It's my longest, you know, relationship couple. Been together forever. It's Mo and Paul, got each other's back. They're really, really solid. But in its reverse position, this is sort of suggesting that something's a bit shoddy. It's kind of shoddy craftsmanship. It's suggesting that the situation is deteriorating because people didn't do their best. They didn't put their best efforts into this. And with the Two of Swords in reverse, this has been forced to face your suppressed emotions and being very conflicted and almost stubborn about that. There's some sort of, there could be an injustice here of some sort, but I just feel you're not dealing with it. As I say, there was something about suppressed memories, and it could be to do with a relationship, and it's leaving you currently stuck in the Hangman position. Stuck, and stuck. That is how you're being viewed. It's not a prediction. It doesn't need to be accurate, but it's how people around you are viewing you. Now, in your hopes, bloody hell. This is something else. I got hopes as the Nine of Swords and the Singer of the Chalice. And I'm like, what? How could anyone be hoping for the Nine of Swords? I actually think you're hoping someone else goes into the Nine of Swords, Capricorn. I think there's a wee bit of kind of vengeance here. You want someone to suffer. And I think it's the feminine with my Singer of the Chalice. It could be the mother. It could be, you know, an ex-partner. I think you actually want someone to suffer. But I'm coming back to that mysticism and, you know, protections, etc. And this is my Drama Queen card. So this is also about baneful magic being returned. You may think someone has literally put a spell on you and you want to send it back and you want them to suffer as you feel you have suffered. And it is towards the Singer of the Chalice, which is all about, you know, it's miracles, it's being open and receptive and creativity, and it's all things wonderful. I'm just sort of seeing it as a feminine. I have got the Vanity card in reverse and the Victim card upright. So that's 2 victim cards in this reading. I think you're hoping someone will have a mighty fall. I think you're hoping their ego will be crushed. And it's a sort of, it's almost quite passive-aggressive, this, with the Victim card. In this is sort of suggesting that somebody is in denial. This is a kind of a hidden anger in the Victim card. This has been really, really pissed off, but not letting on. So I actually think you want to see somebody suffer a bit here, Capricorn, and toil and labour. Eek. I think you want to see them knocked off their, you know, high horse maybe, suffering the way that you have suffered, and you want to see them working for a pittance, working their fingers to the bone, because that's what this toil and labour card is. It's a Victorian factory, getting paid literally nothing for hard labour. And that's in your hopes, Capricorn. If I said Gemini again, I apologise. I don't know why it feels similar, because it's not really the same story, is it? No, it's not. And in your fears, we have got the 6 of Pentacles in reverse, the Unity card in reverse, and the Gossip card in reverse. In your fears, I think you're fearing, now it can be a number of things. You're actually fearing that somebody might steal something from you. You might be taken advantage of. I think you're fearing that you're going to be talked about maliciously or negatively or viewed in that way. I think you're afraid that you're going to be viewed as someone who's very selfish financially, that has contributed to the breakup of a partnership, a union. I think you've got a lot of fears there, and it's very much about how you're being viewed by others. Now, you know, that may come from a place of you maybe accept that this is this is actually you, but you don't want people to see you that way. Or if you want to leave someone, although all I'm getting through is I want you back as well, didn't I? And you can't hurry love. So it could be more than one person here. That if you were to leave someone or break a relationship up, that you would be talked about negatively and seen as selfish, seen as somebody who was just looking after themselves and no one else. And in your outcome, the 10 of Cups in reverse. Oh God, Capricorn, I'm sorry. What can I say? I hope this is not your reading, but this is a, you know, it can be a divorce. It can be just a lack of emotional fulfillment. It's the breakup of the, you know, the marital home. It's family troubles as well. It can be a bit empty nest syndrome. It's family troubles. And this is you coming through here. Himself, quite stubborn again, coming back to this King of Wands down here. Someone who's very connected. My himself card, his little chakras are all lit up here. His heart chakra's a bit out of place, to be honest, but his third eye and his crown are on point. So yeah, pretty stubborn, a bit of a protector. I'm getting it mainly as stubborn energy, not being prepared to see another person's point of view here, being very indecisive about what way to go, and that's what's causing a lot of your fears, your anxiety, your not sleeping at night, your nightmares, and feeling stuck. And it's because your perception is skewed. This card is supposed to be upright, and it's about, seeing the same set of circumstances in a completely different light. And this has not been prepared to consider an alternative. This is, I've made up my mind. I'm right. And even though everything else with this, right decision is looking a bit shitty, you don't seem prepared to consider an alternative. So your advice, Capricorn, release the old and let go, which is just what it says. It is autumn, so I might even suggest that this is going to play out until next autumn, because we are in winter now, depending on your hemisphere. And I've also got the 10 of Bows in reverse with the 5 of Vessels, Ecstasy. This is dropping the responsibility. This is your 10 of Wands. You need to drop the responsibility. You need to focus on something that gives you more pleasure. Release the old, and basically stop the struggle. Stop fighting whatever this is with the 8 of Arrows in reverse. Stop the struggle. Because what you're struggling against is an attraction. With my 2 of Vessels here. That was upright. It can be the 8 of Arrows that you maybe need to communicate with someone that you're attracted to. That would bring you more ecstasy. I think you've got a lot to sort through here, Capricorn. If you would like a personal, all my information is below. Your own energy, the King of Bows, Foxy's coming up at the base of the deck with the challenge card. So the good news is in the centre, you do seem very determined to get through this. I am genuinely concerned about your hopes, that you're really hoping that someone suffers. Because, I mean, that's poison. It's going to bleed into you. It's not going to help the situation at all. That's something that you need to come to terms with and be able to let go. If you want to get out of this depression, and your perception needs shifting, that's a wrong perception card. That's a wrong perception card. Release and acceptance. So yeah, you do need to have a rethink. But in the meantime, Capricorn, I think it's suggesting that you try not to deal with it maybe as intensely as you are, and then the solutions might well come to you. Maybe write it down. That often helps. Write it down and then close the book, and that'll help you sleep. Or put all your worries into little paper bags, imaginary ones, set them outside your door and close the door, and you'll say, well, I'll pick them up there tomorrow. It's not like they're going anywhere. Yeah, and just make sure you're getting enough rest and looking after yourself, because without that, everything does feel a hell of a lot worse. Okay, Capricorn, please like, please subscribe, and I hope you have a great December. If I don't speak to you before Christmas, if that's your thing, have a great one, and thanks for listening. Bye bye.